I'm going to react to what we see happen with this Range Rover.
That's not good. He's in trouble there.
He gets in a world of trouble. Yeah, it wasn't good. Now, this is down on the McAllister River in the Victorian High Country, and I've been down there and I've camped on the river, and it is spectacular. If ever you're down in the High Country, you want to put this on as one of your places to go. Anyway, let's hook into the video and see what we can learn. So we've got 3 vehicles in the convoy, 2 Range Rovers and a Toyota. So obviously the Toyota is the recovery vehicle on the trip. Okay, here we go.
That's not good. He's in trouble there.
That was deep. Like, if you think about it, that vehicle, if you went and stood next to it, I'm 6 foot tall, my head would be up near the top of the roof line. So the water's that deep. When he went right in there, let's go back and watch that again. Hang on, I'll just come back. What's that? And then
that's not good. He's in trouble there.
In he goes. That's deep. Okay, so you can see he's in a world of hurt. He's up it. I don't know if this is the V8 petrol or the diesel. I'm feeling like it might be the petrol. That's guesswork. Oh boy. He'd be absolutely peaking right now. So close. Yeah. Oh, how bad is that? I've actually been in similar situations, not quite that bad, and it really gets your adrenaline going. Now, if you've had a situation like that, let me know. Tell us the story in the comments down below, or even if you've got video of it, well, send us some video, and if it's worth it, I'll react to it and see what we can learn from your experience. But whew, that's full on. Let's just come back into the video and watch it from here again, and I'll stop and pause and let's sort of unpack a few things. Actually, before I do that, see this bit of the image here? We've got grey skies, we've got a lot of cloud. Now it's hot, it's mountainous country, so you do get this. Just a consideration, you always want to be well aware of flooding, flash floods and stuff like that. You can see in this footage that we're looking at now that there's flood debris up there. This river, when it's in flood, would be diabolically bad. There would be a lot of water going down there. So all I'm saying is always be aware of what the weather's doing, because you don't know if a few kilometres upstream there's a storm cell and it's dumping water, and next thing you're in the creek and it's all going bad. So, all right, let's get back to where he's in his world of grief here. Okay, so here he is.
He's in trouble there.
So the first thing is, I don't know how he's ended up in this situation. Like, we can't see enough from it, but at the end of the video, it does look like the track is further to the left, upstream of where he is. So I'm not saying this is what happened, but sometimes when we're out wheeling, we do look for the little extra level of adventure or challenge. Is that what's happened? I don't know. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But if you're going to go that way, get out and walk it first. Now, this will be a mountain river, so it'll be cold. But if you want to play that game, you know, you'd be better off to get in there and really scope it out, because as you can see, this is a pretty deep waterhole that he's found himself in. All right, let's keep going. So he's backed up and got himself onto a bit of high ground where that water's rushing in. That's good, like height is good, you know, less water that you're in. When you're in water, you've got to factor in that the traction you have available to you to propel the vehicle forward is always going to be used not only to propel the vehicle forward, but to move water out of the way. The faster you want to move the water out of the way, the more traction you're going to require to do that. So when you're doing water crossings, it's counterproductive to get up it and really start trying to do it fast, because you're putting a lot of energy into turning the tyres and wheels spinning. So you won't see it, but under the water you may very well have your wheels spinning a lot more than they need to, because you're trying to travel through the water fast. You're pushing a lot of weight. The key to a successful water crossing is actually to slow down a bit so that you have traction available to propel the vehicle forward, not dig holes underneath. There's a common river up here in Cape York called Nolan's Brook. You may have heard about it, and it's renowned, famous for having a really soft sandbank and vehicles getting bogged in the sandbank. Two reasons they get bogged. First is they don't air down enough on their tyres. The second is they go in there like a bull at a gate, and they're full up it. They're using all the horsepower to try and get through and get up the embankment. They're not putting horsepower into going faster, they're putting horsepower into moving the water out of the way, therefore they're spinning. Therefore, when they get to the soft sand, they dig holes and they get bogged. And then they hydraulic their motor. And if you want to learn about hydraulicing your motor, watch the other Reacts video I just did where I rolled this over and hydraulicked the motor in the race car. So the key to water crossings is actually not to try and go like a bull at a gate. Slow down, first gear in a higher geared vehicle, or second gear in a low geared vehicle, first or second gear, low range, and just look to have a nice flowing momentum through there where you develop a nice gentle bow wave and just let the vehicle do the job, and that'll give you a more successful water crossing. All right, let's keep rolling. So you can see he's trying to work up the embankment now. He's got a lot of wheel spin going on. Is that working in his favour? Possibly. As a driver, you can tell sometimes you'll have a lot of wheel speed going and the vehicle's moving forward and working for you, so you just keep doing what's working. Alternatively, you want to be really aware of, is the vehicle stopped going forward and starting to go down? Because the moment it starts to go down, you're going to start hanging up your differential. Your under vehicle clearance is going to be compromised quite rapidly. Notice the tyres that he's running on the Range Rover. They're a really aggressive mud tyre. I think that's probably helping him, and actually I think it's probably a contributing factor to him ultimately getting out of the situation he's in. But again, he's got a lot of wheel spin going there, so you know, this is where the adrenaline's flowing. You want to be really careful about how you're managing that, and it's not easy. When you're in this situation, it is not easy to get it right. Okay, so obviously he's stopped going forward. I don't know if the motor's stalled. We don't know. Obviously it's progressed in the situation now. Okay, I want to just pick up this point. So I'll just play that back a bit. I want you to watch the front of the car as he's coming up through here, and watch how the car moves to the left, the front of the car. See, it's kind of hard in the footage to see it, but the front of the car moves around to the left like that. So you all know how a riverbed has flowed, and we can see it here. The water's flowing along, and as it flows along, it deposits an embankment worth of sand and rubble, and that's what he's up against now. Is he's trying to climb up that. What I've found oftentimes work, rather than trying to climb up that rubble embankment straight, you're better off to like use it as a ramp to flow the vehicle along, and flow the vehicle along to where you can get up. Now what you're looking for is either a slightly less angled embankment, or a lower level, a lower height embankment that can work in your favour. Again, not being there, I can't say if this would have worked, but I actually wonder if he'd started travelling to the right, whether that might have worked in his favour. And the reason I say that, if you look to the right of the vehicle, you can see that there's another stream of water flowing down through there, and it does look lower. So is it feasible that if he'd travelled to the right, he would have got out of this obstacle? Obviously, we don't know how deep that water hole is. We know it's deep, and it might have been deeper as he headed that way. I can't make a call on that. All right, so let's continue on. So again, he's still working it. He is making forward progress. That's a good thing. Okay, a lot of wobbly footage, but we understand why. Okay, and watch, he gets stuck again. So he's making good progress and he gets stuck again. He does the right thing though. He stops straight away and then he backs up and he gives it a little nudge and out he goes. So he's backing up now. We see the reverse lights on just a tiny bit and up. And that's all he needed. Well done. Oh man, that's a bad moment to be in. Now the other thing I wanted to bring to your consideration here is that, that when you're in these situations, can you use the current of the river to your advantage? I've had situations where I've come into a creek or a river like this and I intentionally come in upstream knowing that I'm going to have to use the current to carry me downstream to where I can get out. And that can oftentimes work really well because the water's pushing you, you're not fighting it so much. So it's worth considering a river crossing and can that work to your advantage. You certainly don't want to be in the situation where you're trying to drive upstream against the pressure of the water. It's just think about the amount of pressure of water when you stand in a creek like this or a river like this, just the pressure against you. Then you've got a vehicle in there with all of the pressure against the side of the vehicle. It's a huge amount of resistance and force that the vehicle's trying to fight against. A vehicle really doesn't have a lot of capacity to resist that force because at the end of the day, you've got 4 tyres with like a footprint like this on the surface. That's all that's resisting that. So don't be fooled to think, oh, I'm in a big, tough, heavy 4-wheel drive, it'll beat the river. No, you won't. Treat the river with a great deal of respect. The last thing I just wanted to bring up is I indicated earlier whether I wasn't sure whether he'd gone for the adventure line, shall we say, or had gone, why he was down in that hole at all. You can see behind the vehicle, there's kind of looks like there might be a bit of a river crossing there. And that's what I wonder is that's where the main track was and he's decided to go for the adventure line. There is, of course, the other option, and that is he was on that line and the current was so much that the pressure on the vehicle washed him into the hole. I don't know, but it's worth considering all of these factors when we get in this situation. All right, let's continue on because I haven't shown you something else yet. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, geez, you're learning a lot about this and it's really helping you out, hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below of the adventures you've got to around water. We'd love to know, how your experiences. Okay, we're going to cut to another river now, another crossing. That's those tyres I was talking about, they're very aggressive. I think they might be a Cymex tyre. I could be very wrong on that. Okay, so now, I guess once bitten, twice shy. So we're going to set up a situation and drag the second Range Rover across the crossing. Okay, as you can see, it's not that deep, but hey, better safe than sorry, eh? That was a much safer way to approach this crossing rather than have another vehicle get into strife. Now, if you've got a video you'd like me to react to, shoot it to me, madmatt@madmatt4wd.com.au, and if it's up for the task, I'd love to bring it to the audience and we can all learn from your experience or your video that you'd like me to react to. I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trails.